Ladies and gentlemen, love is one of life's most profound mysteries, a force that transcends time and space, a thread that weaves itself into the tapestry of our existence. Tonight, let us explore this sacred bond through the lens of one specific expression: when a man loves you. When a man truly loves you, it is as if he steps into a timeless dance. This dance is not about who leads and who follows, but about moving together in rhythm, respecting the pauses and flowing with the music of life. His love does not seek to trap or tether, it is freedom within connection, a union that celebrates your individuality even as it cherishes your togetherness. To be loved is not to be worshipped or idealized. No, it is to be seen, truly seen. When a man loves you, he sees not just the polished facade you show the world, but the messy, raw, and vulnerable you that lies beneath. He sees the cracks in your armor and finds beauty in them, understanding that they are part of what makes you whole. And in this love there is courage. It takes courage to be vulnerable, to expose one's soul to another without the protection of pride or ego. A man who loves you reveals his fears and dreams, knowing that love is not a shield but a bridge, one that requires both of you to walk toward each other unguarded. When a man loves you, he supports you without trying to fix or dominate you. He knows you are not a project but a partner. His strength lies not in overpowering, but in empowering you. He becomes a quiet pillar, steady and strong, reminding you that you are capable even when you doubt yourself. Most of all, love creates a sacred space for growth. Just as a gardener tends to a plant, nurturing it without forcing its bloom, a man who loves you gives you the sunlight of encouragement and the water of understanding. He allows you to grow into the fullness of who you are meant to be while standing beside you, not above you. So when a man loves you, it is not a possession, a promise, or a performance. It is a living, breathing force, a gift that enriches both the giver and the receiver. May we all have the courage to embrace love in its truest form and to offer it in return. Thank you. When a man loves you, it's as though he enters into a profound dance, one that requires no instruction manual but thrives on intuition and mutual understanding. This dance isn't bound by rigid steps or dictated by societal rules. Instead, it flows like a river, ever-changing, yet steady in its purpose. It is an intricate interplay of energies, a dynamic balance where two individuals come together not to overshadow or consume one another, but to move in harmony. The essence of this dance lies in its freedom. Love in its truest form is never about possession or control. It does not demand that either partner relinquish their individuality for the sake of the other. When a man loves you, he does not seek to own you or define you by his standards. Instead, he respects the unique rhythm of your life. He recognizes that you are not an extension of him, but a separate being with your own desires, dreams, and ambitions. And yet he cherishes the connection that binds you. This is the paradox of love. It unites without confining, creates intimacy without erasing individuality. In this dance there is a deep sense of attunement. It is as if he listens to a melody that only the two of you can hear, a melody composed of shared moments, whispered secrets, and silent understanding. This attunement requires presence, a kind of attentiveness that goes beyond mere physical proximity. When a man loves you, he is present with you in every sense. He is there, not just in body, but in mind and spirit, fully engaged in the moment. Whether you are laughing together, sharing your innermost fears, or sitting in comfortable silence, his focus remains unwavering, a testament to his commitment to the shared rhythm of your relationship. This presence extends to the way he approaches your shared journey. The dance of love is not a competition where one partner leads while the other follows blindly. It is a partnership built on mutual respect, where each movement is a collaborative effort. He does not insist on being the one to set the pace or dictate the direction. Instead, he adapts to the ebb and flow of your connection, aware that love requires flexibility and a willingness to adjust. When the music of life becomes fast and chaotic, he matches your energy, moving with you through the whirlwind. And when the tempo slows, he does not rush you but allows you to take your time, savoring the stillness. This balance is not always easy to maintain. Life is unpredictable, and the pressures of the world can threaten to disrupt even the most harmonious of dances. Yet when a man truly loves you, he remains committed to finding that balance. He understands that love is not static, it is a dynamic force that requires effort and intention. He is willing to put in the work, not because he feels obligated, but because he values the connection you share. For him, the dance is not a chore, but a joy, a source of fulfillment that enriches his life as much as it enriches yours. This sense of joy is evident in the way he celebrates your individuality. When a man loves you, he does not view your differences as obstacles, but as opportunities to learn and grow. He appreciates the unique qualities that make you who you are, recognizing that they add depth and richness to the relationship. He does not seek to change you or mold you into an idealized version of what he thinks a partner should be. Instead, he embraces you fully, quirks and all, knowing that it is your authenticity that makes you extraordinary. Love, in this context, becomes an act of liberation. It frees you to be your true self, unencumbered by the fear of judgment or rejection. And this freedom is not one-sided, it is reciprocal. Just as he allows you to flourish, he also feels safe to express his own vulnerabilities and desires. Together you create a space where both of you can thrive, a space that is rooted in trust and mutual respect. This dynamic is what sets true love apart from mere infatuation or attraction. Infatuation may burn brightly, but often lacks the depth and stability needed to sustain a lasting connection. True love, on the other hand, is a slow-burning fire, one that requires care and attention to keep alive. It is in the small, everyday moments, the shared laughter, the comforting touch, the quiet understanding that this love finds its strength. And it is through these moments that the dance continues, evolving and adapting as life unfolds. In this dance, there is no need for pretense or performance. When a man loves you, he does not expect perfection, nor does he try to present himself as perfect. Instead, he brings his authentic self to the table, flaws and all, trusting that you will do the same. Together, you create a partnership that is grounded in reality, not fantasy. This authenticity is what makes the connection so profound it is real, raw, and deeply human. The dance of love is a testament to the beauty of connection, a reminder that two people can come together without losing themselves in the process. It is a delicate balance, one that requires patience, understanding, and a willingness to grow. But when it is done with intention and care, it becomes a source of unparalleled joy and fulfillment, a living expression of what it means to truly love and be loved. True love begins in a space where illusion no longer holds sway. When a man loves you, he looks past the surface-level appearances, the facades present to the world, and sees the essence of who you are. He sees you not through the lens of perfection or expectation, but with eyes unclouded by the need to fit you into preconceived notions or societal ideals. In a world where so much emphasis is placed on external beauty, status, and superficial traits, true love allows for a deep acceptance of the whole self, the light and the shadow, the beauty and the imperfections. This acceptance is not mere tolerance, but a genuine recognition of the depth within you. It's the understanding that love doesn't require you to be flawless. That to be loved is not to be devoid of faults, but to be embraced despite them. It's a rare gift to be seen in your entirety, not as an idealized version of yourself, but as a full human being with complexities, contradictions, and vulnerabilities. When a man loves you, he does not seek to fix you because he does not see you as broken. He sees you as whole in your imperfection, understanding that the very things that make you imperfect are often the very things that make you unique and beautiful in his eyes. This type of acceptance is powerful because it offers a deep sense of freedom. To be loved without conditions is to be allowed to simply be. It's to know that you are enough as you are in your most authentic form. It's the reassurance that there is no need to wear a mask, to pretend to be someone you are not, or to hide parts of yourself that you might feel ashamed of. In his love, you can take off the armor you've built up over time, and for once rest in the security of being accepted for who you truly are. When a man loves you with this kind of deep acceptance, it creates a space where growth can happen. Love, in this sense, becomes fertile ground for transformation. Rather than seeking to change you or impose his ideals upon you, he stands by you as you evolve, supporting you as you navigate your own journey of self-discovery. He recognizes that you too are on a path of growth, and he respects that. His love doesn't bind you to a fixed version of yourself, rather, it nurtures you to become who you are meant to be. There is no pressure to conform to anyone else's expectations because in his eyes you are already enough. This kind of acceptance requires vulnerability, both from the man and from you. It requires a willingness to reveal yourself fully, to trust that the other person will hold your truth with care and reverence. When he loves you like this, he is not afraid to show his own vulnerability, to share his fears, hopes, and insecurities. This exchange of vulnerability creates a bond that goes beyond surface-level attraction or infatuation. It is the foundation for a relationship built on trust, where both partners can feel safe to express themselves without fear of judgment or rejection. True love doesn't demand perfection, but it does demand authenticity. When a man loves you with this depth of acceptance, he wants to know you, truly know you. He doesn't want the polished version of you that you present to the world. He wants the raw, unfiltered version that only those closest to you get to see. He seeks the real you, not the version you have cultivated to meet others' expectations. And in return, he offers the same a love that invites you to meet him as he is, without pretense or posturing. This kind of love also requires patience. It's the patience to wait for you to reveal yourself in your own time, without rushing or pushing you into uncomfortable territory. It's the patience to listen without interrupting, to understand without jumping to conclusions. When a man loves you in this way, he knows that real connection takes time. He doesn't demand instant intimacy or expect that everything will be laid bare in a single moment. Instead, he honors the unfolding of the relationship, knowing that deep love is cultivated over time, through small moments of connection, shared experiences, and honest conversations. Acceptance, when it is unconditional, gives rise to a kind of peace. When a man loves you in this way, he brings a calmness to your life because there is no pressure to be anything other than yourself. There is no need to live up to anyone else's standards, no need to prove your worth, no need to chase after someone else's approval. The love he offers frees you from the anxiety of living up to an image or an expectation, and instead allows you to live in a way that is true to your heart. It's the peace that comes from knowing that you are loved simply for existing, not for what you do or who you pretend to be. This type of love also allows for the inevitable challenges and conflicts that arise in any relationship. When a man loves you in this way, he understands that disagreements or difficult moments do not signify failure. Rather, they are opportunities for growth, for deepening understanding, and for strengthening the bond between you. Because his love is rooted in acceptance, he doesn't need to win arguments or prove a point. Instead, he listens, he learns, and he adapts. He understands that love is not about being right, but about working through difficulties with respect and empathy. In this deep love, there is no place for judgment, shame, or criticism. Instead, there is only the invitation to grow together, to learn from each other, and to walk side by side through all of life's challenges. This is the beauty of unconditional acceptance. It fosters an environment where both partners can thrive as individuals while also growing together in their shared journey. When a man loves you, there is a quiet strength that emerges, a strength rooted in vulnerability. It's easy to think of love as something that demands power, control, or stoic composure, but in truth, love, especially deep, genuine love, requires the courage to be vulnerable. Vulnerability is not about weakness, it is about opening oneself to the possibility of being hurt, of being exposed without the certainty of protection. It's the willingness to reveal one's inner self, to stand unguarded and raw in the presence of another. When a man loves you, he is not afraid to be vulnerable with you, for he understands that true connection arises not from what we hide, but from what we allow to be seen. At its core, vulnerability is an act of trust. To be vulnerable with someone is to place your deepest fears, dreams, and desires in their hands, trusting that they will handle them with care and compassion. When a man loves you, he entrusts you with his insecurities, his doubts, and his hopes for the future, knowing that in this openness, true intimacy is born. It is in these moments of rawness, where neither party is pretending or performing, that the bond between you deepens. These shared moments of vulnerability become the foundation upon which your relationship is built, creating a connection that is not just superficial but profound, anchored in mutual understanding and shared humanity. This willingness to be vulnerable doesn't just manifest in moments of emotional exposure, but in a constant openness to one another. A man who loves you isn't merely willing to share his fears or joys during moments of crisis or celebration. He opens himself to you every day. He allows you to see him as he is not the idealized version that we often present to the world, but the real imperfect person underneath. This type of vulnerability is an ongoing process, one that requires both patience and trust. It's about continually shedding the layers we build around ourselves to protect against the world's harshness and choosing to show up authentically, even when doing so feels uncomfortable or risky. The courage to be vulnerable also means the courage to be seen without defenses, without the armor we often wear to shield our hearts. Many of us carry around walls built from past experiences, heartbreak, betrayal, or fear of rejection, and it is natural to want to protect ourselves from being hurt again. But love, true love, cannot exist fully in these fortified spaces. When a man loves you, he chooses to lower his guard, not because he is certain that he will never be hurt, but because he understands that true connection requires risk. He understands that the walls we build to protect ourselves from pain also keep us from experiencing the fullness of love. In choosing vulnerability, he allows himself to be exposed, to be open to the possibility of both joy and pain, trusting that the depth of love outweighs the fear of potential hurt. This vulnerability is also a key part of emotional honesty. A man who loves you doesn't hide his feelings or suppress his emotions in order to appear strong or composed. Instead, he expresses what is in his heart, even if it is difficult or uncomfortable. He understands that love is not about hiding the darker, more challenging emotions, but about acknowledging and sharing them with honesty. Whether it is sadness, frustration, fear, or joy, his love allows him to be honest with you, knowing that in this honesty, both of you can navigate the complexities of your relationship together. This openness strengthens the relationship, for it is in sharing both the light and the dark moments of life that a deeper, more resilient bond is forged. Being vulnerable also means acknowledging and embracing the parts of oneself that are often hidden, those aspects that we may view as flaws or weaknesses. A man who loves you does not view his vulnerabilities as liabilities, but as part of what makes him human. He knows that his imperfections, just as much as his strengths, contribute to the fullness of who he is. He embraces these aspects of himself with a sense of acceptance, and in doing so invites you to do the same. He doesn't expect you to be perfect, nor does he expect you to have all the answers. Instead, he invites you to be open with him, to share your own vulnerabilities, knowing that this mutual exposure allows you to support one another in ways that superficial interactions never could. The courage to be vulnerable also allows for greater emotional growth within the relationship. When a man loves you and allows himself to be vulnerable, he creates a space where growth is not only encouraged but nurtured. Vulnerability opens the door to self-reflection and emotional maturity. It enables both of you to explore your feelings, examine your reactions, and learn from each experience. By choosing vulnerability, a man shows that he is willing to grow, to learn from the past, and to evolve as a person, not just for the sake of the relationship, but for his own personal development as well. It creates an environment where emotional growth becomes a natural part of the relationship, where both partners can grow individually and together, constantly learning from each other and adapting to the evolving nature of love. When a man loves you and chooses to be vulnerable, he also demonstrates the depth of his emotional intelligence. He recognizes that vulnerability is not just about exposing his own feelings, but about being attuned to yours as well. He becomes adept at noticing your emotional shifts, understanding when you need space and when you need comfort, when to challenge you and when to support you. His vulnerability makes him more in tune with your emotional world, and his willingness to be open encourages you to do the same. This dynamic creates a relationship where emotional understanding flows freely, where both partners are attuned to each other's needs and emotions. In choosing vulnerability, a man also becomes more capable of offering unconditional love. By embracing his own vulnerabilities, he learns to extend that same grace and acceptance to you. His love is no longer about expecting perfection, but about honoring the imperfect beauty of your humanity. This mutual vulnerability becomes the bedrock of a relationship that is grounded not in idealized images, but in the real, lived experience of loving and being loved. When a man loves you, his love is not about fixing you or trying to change you into something you are not. It is about walking alongside you, offering unwavering support as you navigate life's complexities. His love is not a tool for correction or improvement, but a steady presence that encourages you to be your best self. This love is based on a foundation of respect, where both partners are equal, and each has the space to grow without the weight of unnecessary control or manipulation. He does not seek to dominate or overrule you. Rather, He respects your autonomy and works to empower you, knowing that true love thrives when both individuals are able to flourish in their own right. This sense of support comes with deep understanding. A man who loves you seeks to understand.